Hey y'all, my name is Tamara Andress. I am your Fit and Faith podcast host, and I am pumped to be here. Just me, no words, no scripts, no intros, no outros. I love authenticity. I hope to breed vulnerability, and I usually do this alongside another dreamer, mover, shaker, entrepreneur, passionista is what I love to call them. If you're a dude, then a dude. But I am loving just coming together in community with other people to share their high and low stories, to share their journeys to comeback, because I believe ultimately that's where God would have us. He would have us on the mountaintop. And even though we learn a ton in the pit and in the valley, God would want us right now, especially in this season of life, in this time of our culture, to shine. And so here I am. I want to teach you how to shine. I want to be alongside you when you get your glow. I want to catapult you into your calling, whatever that is. So this isn't a fitness podcast. This is not a religious banter, though we preach Jesus all day long. And this is not just about nutrition or health or wealth, though I like some green, and I know you do too. It's not okay for us to not be okay with talking about all of these things in unison. You guys, we don't just need a mental health podcast. We don't just need a fitness podcast. We don't just need a religious, spiritual podcast. It needs to blend. This is what Fit and Faith is all about. It's all about creating alignment, connectivity. It's about pursuing your wholeness and claiming it over your life and over the lives of the loved ones that you have around you in your community. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to get to know you more. You can like, review, subscribe, whatever it is. Send me an email, DM me. It's me. I have an amazing team alongside me, but you guys are getting me for now. So enjoy. I'm so pumped to have a coffee conversation with you, is what I love to call them. Don't have my coffee right now, but I have it in my system, as you can see. All the love. Let's do this together and keep going for your dreams, y'all. What's up?
Hey, hey!
How's everyone doing?
Hey, hey.
So excited to be here. This is so fun.
Yes.
All right, let's get comfy because this is going to be a good one.
Yay.
I'm so excited. So, guys, I'm so honored to introduce you to a friend that I was reflecting. I met literally a year ago, almost to the date.
Yes.
Here in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Not either of our hometowns,
Nope.
but we came, met here at the She Speaks conference, which I am attending tomorrow.
Yay.
And it has been a life-changing experience.
Absolutely.
Even for the both of us. So I'm so happy that you hopped cities.
Heck
came
yeah.
to see
I'm
me.
like, you're coming to town, kind
Yes,
of.
I
About
know.
an hour and a half from me, but I didn't want to miss the
It was so
opportunity to
close.
reconnect with you face to face.
I'm so glad you're here. I know we were supposed to get together in Raleigh multiple times, and I never went one time to Raleigh. I was telling Liz on the way here, I usually go 4 or 5 times a year.
Right, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and you're like,
Yeah.
no, she doesn't.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, literally, my girlfriend who lives here, thankfully, she's come to me a lot. But I have not come to Raleigh. She's been in transition, so
Yeah, it's
it
been,
just-
I can't believe at the same time it's been a year. It doesn't feel that way. Thankful for social media where we can stay
Yes.
connected and kind of know like what you had for breakfast
Yeah.
and
Yes.
also like what God is doing in your life. So all of it,
so
we've
good.
stayed connected
It's
for
so
sure.
good. It's been awesome. But even when I just saw you, I'm like,
I
there's
know,
no,
in the flesh. I know.
there's no screen. I can touch
Exactly.
it. It's so fun.
It's fun.
I want to know all the things
Yeah.
because I obviously do follow when you do your daily devotions
Yeah.
and things like that. I know that you're at Orange Theory, and we
Yeah.
have that similar bond in
Right.
health and consciousness of that. But I want to know first about like where's your book? What's
Yeah.
going on?
So I officially saw my cover for my book. They just emailed it to me this past week, which has been so cool. So the writing is in the can, the editing process has been finished, and so from a year ago, that when we met, it was just kind of a proposal, a concept, an idea.
You hadn't even written it.
I hadn't written it.
Okay.
No, so I had a couple of sample chapters that I realized were not even quite chapters.
Yeah,
they were just really kind of some thoughts.
Yeah.
And so took that and after signing with Leafwood Publishers, and so just kind of saying, yeah, like, let's go for this. And so it was just time to write, you know, and so time to kind of lock myself away and do that. And so that was an interesting process and it was an adventure in itself, for sure.
Absolutely.
You know, just kind of something that is in your heart, because it
Yeah.
came from my heart of,
Yeah.
of a story, you know, the story that God has given me to share, but then kind of fleshing that out, kind of like as you're growing and changing.
Yeah.
So you're kind of not changing perspectives, but you're kind
Yeah.
of seeing it through a different process.
Absolutely.
And so that was really, I'm thankful. I said to my husband that if it's for no one else, it's for me. I wrote it for me.
I totally agree.
I really
And
do.
if all writers,
Yes.
and even I hope that people at the conference, there's 800 women that come
Right.
to that they can just know that any
Yes.
part of ministry, it's
Yep.
it's for the one.
Right.
And if that one happens to
Yeah.
be you,
Absolutely.
God's done his job.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Like you've done what you're called
Yeah.
to do.
And it's not in like a cliche way,
I
or
know.
like in a way to kind of like, it's okay if this doesn't do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm good because it helped
Right.
me. But really, like as I'm doing
Yeah.
this, and I had moments where, you know, the Lord would reveal something to me, and so it was just like moments with Him, you know. And so I really do feel like it was just some really special times together. And so doing that, the editing process was probably the most nerve-wracking
Yeah.
part, because it was the first time hearing back from someone that's not my mom or my sister,
Yes,
who
I
love
know.
everything that I do.
Sure,
You know, and they're like,
sure.
I love it, everything you said, I love the way you said that. And they're like, I didn't love that, you know, or like, I don't understand that, or,
Sure.
you know, kind of understanding, or they don't really know me.
Yeah.
So the perception that I was giving in a certain story
Could have been.
was a little confusing for them. So like just different things like that I had to kind of like
yeah.
evaluate. And I have, because I am achiever by nature, when someone gives me criticism, sometimes like I take it personally,
Sure.
even though I have a growth mindset, even
Yeah.
though I believe and I trust these people.
Yeah.
It's still like, here's your baby, and they're like, it's not as cute as you think the baby is, or whatever,
So
you know,
true. It's
kind
so
of thing.
true.
So anyway, fast forward through all of that, and we got through that process, and then we just kind of started hashing out, you know, ideas for the landing on a title
Yeah.
that I'll be able to reveal soon.
Was
Not
it a
yet.
different title? Did you come with the title?
I did.
concept?
I had a title concept,
Okay.
and it's kind of the same.
Okay, cool.
So a little bit different.
Okay.
I think captures a little bit more.
Yeah.
And what I love about the She Speaks conference is
Yeah.
that you get to share that title with someone, and you get to see different reactions
Yes.
from people. Like if they're like, what does that mean? Or what do you mean by that? Or if they have like a negative or resistance to that, then you understand like, okay, how I package this is going to be
That's so true.
really good. So
One of the things I was talking about for my like fit and faith concept is I had put like a sample cover on my one page and my proposal, and actually someone from Leafwood gave me feedback that they loved the concept, but when they saw the cover, it deterred them.
wow.
And it was because of like it was because of me being on the cover, and it didn't have to do that I couldn't be on it. It was just the picture that I chose,
Right.
And it really made me like, that's very interesting that would deter someone, but everyone's going to have a perspective, right? And then you hear other people seeing it, and they're like, I love this cover, it's gorgeous. I'm like, dang it,
Right.
But she's in the publishing agency, so I'm going
Right.
to go.
Maybe she knows a
I'm
little
gonna go
something
where
there.
she's going, and
Yeah.
I did like take that criticism to heart, and then I realized I shouldn't do that, and let me just like take a step back.
Yeah.
So that's so exciting. So when does it actually like come?
So so I'll be launching the book in spring of 2020. Yeah. So we found we landed on a title, landed on a cover, and it really made it real. I think the most real part was like writing the acknowledgments and the dedication page. To me, that was just like, whoa, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing that I've been thinking about is, what can God do in a year?
Yeah.
You know, like what can
Wow.
God do in a life in a year? You know, and it kind of like gets me emotional because it's just, you know, some people might think a year is a very long time, and yes, it's a continuous of a showing up and just being faithful with what God is giving you to do in your day. But at the same time, I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
what can God do?
transformational.
Yeah, so much. It's been such a year of growth and excitement.
Love that. It's cool because I was redoing my one page, and I had the first thing I did was adjust my bio, and to see the growth in 1 year from how I see myself.
Wow.
It had
So
nothing
true.
to do with
So
anyone
true.
else. I was brought to tears because I was like, God, look what you've done. Look what you've established within my heart
So true.
in a self-awareness, self-identity, not a conceited stance, but just who you see me as, I now grasp.
Right, you're fully
more.
walking in there, or walking in that more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I grasp more of how you see me based
so
on
true.
that. And so I'm excited, expectant, of course, again. And my word for my year last year was expectant.
Cool.
And my word for this year is fruitful.
Cool.
And so it'll be interesting to see how God like uses that, because I was so blown away by She Speaks last year.
Same.
And I'm so expectant to see what happens, but I really feel like the fruit that's going to be coming from this last year is going to be so good
So
on
true.
your adventures, on so many people's adventures that we met. To be able to connect with some of the other women that will be here.
I know.
And then to meet new people as well.
It was I feel like She Speaks was such a pivotal time in my life.
Yeah.
I had been to so many different conferences for different things, whether it's church planting or growing as a leader or this and that. And so for when I came, I had so many insecurities. I had so many doubts, so many different things of like, I don't belong here, or different just feelings of just inadequacy.
Yeah.
And I remember like walking in by myself. I didn't have a friend with me. I didn't have anyone with me. It was just me and, my little bag of goodies. And I was thinking, oh gosh, like I don't even have like a legit laptop. You know what I mean? Like I have like my husband's borrowed iPad. Like I was just like, and so I'm like, okay, I have like these cards that my friend like put together for me. And I was just like, and I remember walking in and just kind of doing the whole smile at people. And, you're like, are we going to take this further? Are we going to have conversation? And just like for the first time, I didn't feel like inadequate. I didn't feel, and like I realized that the process that God had taken me, even like about 6 months before, coming to this place of She Speaks, that He was really doing something on the inside of me. And when I walked in here, and I was in a room, not only with just other women, but other women who have kind of the same dreams.
Yes.
Like very specific. That's so different than just like, oh, we all love Jesus. No, we're here because we feel like we have a gift to write, we have a gift to speak, we have a gift to do that, and a lot of our dreams look the same in that way.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I didn't see them as competition or like they were going to take something from me. And it was something that one of the ladies that I did like a pre-conference thing, so trying to get all prepared, and she said this, and I'll never like forget it. She said, God does not divide, He multiplies. And it's like if He has a pizza, my favorite thing, or a pie for Southern people, whatever, like He doesn't just say like, okay, I'm cutting this up, and so, oh man, now Tamara, you've got one less slice now for you. He multiplies what's in His hands. And so for me, I was not like, I'm a beggar coming to kind of get my scraps, but I'm like, you're a daughter of the King, I'm a daughter of the King, you're a daughter of the King, and together we're using our voice. And we have a story to tell. And even though our dreams may look the same, the story's given us
very
so different.
Yeah.
So different.
That is definitely something to cherish forever. And I feel like people cliche say community over competition and the collaboration concepts, and like what does that actually look like? And I remember sitting around the table like just in those calm times before Lisa would get on stage or something, and you're passing business cards. That's all you do. Like here's your business, make 250 business cards and just throw them in the air and then get picked up.
Yes, seriously. And
I actually had created a spreadsheet afterwards and put them all in there. I didn't do anything with it. That's part of the thing. Right. I had such a whirlwind after the conference, and I know that God let it pass through His hands with purpose, because when I put fresh eyes on my book and, like I said, my own identity concepts, it was so good, so intentional, and He did not let it go to the wayside.
Never.
But when I was sitting around that table and like you're sharing, tell me about your book, or tell me why you're here, because some people don't have that space yet. They don't really know what they're called to. They just feel called. And I love women in that space because they're so fragile. They're so vulnerable. I work alongside them for the core creatives, and like some people are like, I don't really know why I'm here. I'm just here. And that is so brave.
It is.
It's equally as brave as the girl who shows up with a book concept. I mean, it
has
just,
it all going ready to go.
Yeah, you think a package deal, like, oh, she's set to go. She's got everything done and printed, and it's crisp paper, and she spent more money on her business cards than I did.
Exactly.
She's going to get a book deal. And that's not the way that it is. So I love that you share that you went in with such insecurity, and you came out with affirmation. And it's not affirmation from people, it's affirmation from God.
Absolutely.
But it is also nice to be like, okay, she saw me, she understood my concept, like I feel good about this, and I think that there's so much intentionality in the way that God aligns people. I mean, just for me to walk across the room and like, I would have never guessed you were insecure. Like anything that you shared, I was like, oh, poor thing. Like you did not seem like a damsel in distress. I was like, she is wrong, and I want to get to know her more. So I love that like he can use all things
Totally.
and all of those emotions get put into play with purpose.
Right. It's so true. And I think one thing that I took from it too was I spent, how many days the conference was, 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And I felt like I got to know people so much more than some people that I brush shoulders with all the time. And it was the one question, what is your story? Because that's what people are writing usually about, is their story. Somehow it's connected to their story of redemption, their story of why God placed them here on the earth, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I felt like that shaped the way that I interact with people and kind of shifted my, so how are you doing? Oh, what is your problems? How can I help you? To more of what's your story and how can I breathe excitement on that with you,
Good.
And so for me, that's really changed the way we lead in our church. We lead with people. I mean, I feel like that's what you're asking.
Absolutely.
That's what we all ask. So what's your book about?
Yeah, and I don't want to know how you're doing.
Yeah,
that's great. That today you're good. What happened yesterday?
What happened yesterday?
What are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Yes.
And
what do you want? If you had one thing to tell somebody, what would it be?
Oh gosh, tell me about, because I love how you and your husband are church planted, sort of, right?
Yep.
And do you call what you're doing currently a church plant too?
So no. So we church planted in South Florida. Made a big move to be co-pastors with his parents right now.
Okay.
So
they're still in.
Yes. Okay. We're co-leading right now and doing all of that. And so, very different worlds of starting something. It's your culture to, coming in. And so that's been a huge growth place for me for sure. So it's been challenging. It's been awesome. It's been all the things. Yes.
I love it. So how has your husband's, from where he was and supported you, and I know he is supportive, from last year to now, the book is done, it's a next step kind of thing. How is he seeing you different? Right. Are you interacting differently because you feel free from something you felt called to? Yeah,
I think that one of the things that I've loved about my husband from the get-go is his ability to cheer me on, be my biggest rallier, and it doesn't take a single thing away from him ever. He is totally willing to hang out with the kids so I can finish something, or we just do that together. And I think that we're constantly trying to cheer each other on and always do our best to not ever make each other feel guilty for any of what we do in the midst of having 3 kids, 2 dogs, a church, all of those things, and so there's just never been a time, honestly, that I can say that I have said something and he's like, this is how I don't think it's going to work. His first response is, that's amazing. Aww. I love that. Yes. And then he'll give me something here's, whatever. Yeah. I mean, as simple as I was just at a coffee shop and, I didn't have any quarters, so I have to do the app. And of course I'm I just call him every time. Seriously, it's a thing. I don't even know what it is. It sounds so dumb. And I sound so extra, okay? Because I'm very capable, with so much in my life. I can change a tire. You know what I mean? I can do stuff. I can nurse twin girls at the same time. You know what I'm saying? We can do the stuff. But it's stuff like that where I love to lean on him and meet him. And so I'm hey, and so he's in the middle of his work, a very important business. And he's hold on. And he's downloading the app, doing that, whatever. And then on my way here, he texts me hey honey, you have 15 minutes left before it's going to, cancel out. And I'm just I love him. So he's just that guy.
So good.
He's that guy who can run his own race and do his thing and fully support me to leave town for a day and come hang out with you.
I love it. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful to him. I'm going to pray over him just tonight for that symbiotic actually so much to my husband, and I think it's such a gift to have men support you in such a way that it's the home front. Right. And I've got plenty of girlfriends who are go girl, you got it. And they're she's batshit bonkers. What is she doing? Exactly. They're supporting me. Right. But it's a total different thing when it's your spouse who is with you sun up to sundown. They see you for all that you are. And they still are you've got this.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
And I just love moments where I just feel podcasting, different things. I'm hey, he's so willing to be involved in the areas that I don't feel as confident or as I can do that. And then also just covers me as a mom, as a wife. And so I'm super thankful for that. Because, there were nights where I had a certain deadline. I had to get some stuff done. And we just know, like, this is for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think, in that's why I feel I've never felt like I've had to prove something or like I don't need him. I feel such a need for him.
I love
and
that.
I feel like there are certain things that just growing up, I've always been an independent woman and raised by a very strong mom and dad.
Yeah.
But I've always felt that way, and I just remembered when when we got married, and it was really, kind of merging my life with his, and I was so afraid of losing who I was.
Yeah.
That I resisted. Like, he would just say anything. I'm like, you're not the boss of me, or whatever.
That is so mean.
And so we would just like have it. And he's like, I'm not trying to boss you. Like, I would just be like, you are not my boss, and like, I just had this thing, and I just remember, like the Holy Spirit just saying, like, Sarah, I've given you a mantle, and I've given him one.
Wow.
Like, let him carry what I have given him, and so you don't have to worry about some of those things. It's not because you're, not competent. It's not because you're not strong. It's not but it's because that's what I've given him to hold down in your family.
Wow.
And so even today, like, my daughter was wondering, like, okay, Dad took the work truck, and so who's going to pick us up? And I'm like, you know what? You don't even have to worry about those details.
He's got it.
He's got it. And I just felt that way of God, and then also in our spouses. Like, there's some things that I don't need to fret about.
Yeah.
You know what, God? Speak that to my husband.
Wow.
Help him see that.
Yeah.
And let me be responsible for what you've called me to be, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really interesting. And I was talking yesterday about like the need for a man and the need for a woman, and how different we are, and how sometimes that can be uber frustrating, especially in those close quarters of a marriage.
Yes.
But how needed it is.
Absolutely.
And if we just allow them to be man, and we allow ourselves to be woman, and there's grace on both ends,
absolutely,
it turns out so much more beautiful.
Yep.
It's so much more easy. You can carry each other's burdens, and you can also like make up for each other's weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And I definitely was the exact same way. I still am hard-headed, but I was very much like, I never feel heard. I feel like you wear the pants. And he's like, well, I do wear the pants. Like, it's okay. To this day, he'd probably say otherwise. But I finally, when I came to the Lord, was when I released it. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've always tried to have the reins here. And why? I mean, it's exhausting.
It is.
First off,
it is.
You do that.
It was almost like, you know what? You do that. You take care of that. Like, I'm going to do this.
Yes. And it was in that time where I felt so much release of pressure that I had to be all of these things that, like, I was never called to be that. I was never called to be, like, in charge of a household. And, like, that's not my role. Like, it's a symbiotic thing that we do together. But I don't have to do it alone. I don't have to make the decisions alone.
So true.
I don't have to rely fully on one perspective, which is one thing I was definitely doing. Like, it's my way or the highway. And because I come from this bigger family or this like solid foundation, and like my parents were, great as well, and taught me to be that independent woman, be an entrepreneur, like go after your own dreams, not to his discredit, but also not to let mine go. And so it's been really amazing. I'm so glad that you share that, and something that I hope our husbands have an opportunity to
oh man, they have no choice but to really love each other, right? I feel like
they do, because it would just be so like, I feel like simple. They would be like, yes, I get it. Totally. Like, I get you. I understand you.
Your world, exactly.
For sure. Especially with kiddos. So tell me about, you've got the book written. Can't wait to hear what the title is, because I want to say it so many times. I don't know what it is. So you just have to wait and see and follow Sarah. But you've been doing the lives, and I carry like so much value to those. When I accidentally pop on and I see your face come up, I'm like, oh yay, she's on at the same time, because it feels like we're living like synonymous in the same universe at the same time. But tell me, like, what's your heart behind that? What's your heart behind your ministry? What do you feel called to?
So since I was a little girl, I've always felt to write, speak. I remember before, like, Ricky Lake. You know Ricky Lake? I don't know if I totally dated myself. If you don't know who Ricky Lake is, well, just go Google her. So I was like, that's going to be me. I'm going to be Ricky Lake. Like, I used to have like shows, and I would interview people like before all these things. And then I was, and so I've always wanted to do that. I used to sell like pretend books to my parents and to my friends, and just always felt that. And then fast forward, going through college, getting ready to set my, sights on like the business world and all of that, and just kind of pursue like events and doing things. Then I collided with Jesus and His grace and His love, and so I went into like ministry. Thought all of those dreams were gone. And then I just realized He just repackaged them in a way of like, okay, here's the purpose and here's why. And so I feel like I'm just starting to take some of those things back off the shelf and, start doing them little at a time. I remember when my first pregnancy, we lost our first pregnancy. It was an ectopic pregnancy. And so, and it was very like traumatic in that way of like our first pregnancy, never ever thinking like we would have any complications or anything like that. Never. And I'm someone who can have sometimes what I used to call irrational fears. But now I know that they're not like necessarily irrational because I know people who've walked through really tough things. But I would always have this fear of things. But that was never one of them. So when that happened, anyways, I just remember just going through that time of, healing and all of that. And my cousin called me, and she's been a big part of my journey. Even here, I told her, she said, I think you need a blog. And I thought like blogging was for like just experts of things, or moms, you know what I mean? Like sharing their things. So I was like, okay, so 8.5 years ago, I just started a blog. And it was just me and my mom and my best friend and my husband. And so then that kind of just grew over time, and I just felt like I just needed to just show up and do that. And then a year before She Speaks last year, so 2 years ago, I just felt like it was time for that next step. And so I put together a more like a website, and okay, now I'm going to do this. And so then it was just like every step, I just took one in front of the other. That kind of just led even to this, this space now. And so with my idea for the Wednesdays really is I guess it's a hesitation to start a podcast.
I'm like, it's the same thing.
I haven't done a podcast. So I'm like, what are you doing? Exactly. So I'm like, what I can do, and I think too, like, where we are now, people do things at such high quality, so fast, that I've kind of allowed that in moments to make me be like, oh, I don't have any of that. And so I just really tossed that out of my mind a year ago, and was just like, I'm just going to do what I can, and then just believe that it'll get better. And so that's really my idea with Wednesdays. I don't have any like notes. I don't have anything planned. I mean, I have an idea of like what I want to talk about, but it's really just for maybe people to hear my voice if they have never heard my voice, and that they say, you know what, maybe when she has a podcast, maybe I want to listen to that, or maybe I can trust her voice to speak to me, and just have time to like just kind of connect with people, because I know that social media can be such a vulnerable place for people. A lot of times we talk about like mindless scrolling, but I know that as mindless as it could feel, we really are taking things out from us. And it is more of like, it does a lot to us, right? With our psyche, with our emotions, with all of that. And so I just really want to be someone that's just kind of not adding to the noise, but just like a place where they can be like, hey, I can get some encouragement. I can be reminded that I'm not alone. And just some thoughts. And so it's been really cool, because a lot of the people that have connected in that way are not people that like are in the church, sphere and stuff like that. And so it's just been a really cool opportunity for people to hear a little bit more about who I am and what I believe.
I love that. I think it's so important, because there are so many mediums now. And there's like, there's so much information. Overload all the time. Even people sharing. And so I think the biggest thing for me when I have the opportunity, again, I do it for, at the end of the day, for myself. It's like a freedom of expression. But there's always that one person that receives it, and you're like, oh, that's what it was for.
Totally.
I'm good. I don't need anything else. So the power of, and this is for people on the other end, the power of like letting us know that you listened, that you enjoyed it, sending a DM to say, hey, this touched me in this way. It's not falling on deaf ears. Like for us, I know, and I can speak for you on this behalf, like it means the world. And it's not necessarily that you're affirming us, like we need your validation. It's that like it's a relationship opportunity for us to connect further in a place that is vulnerable. Like I don't show up with the anticipation of like, hold on, let me put on my face really quick and let me show you something. Like I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth or my heart. I've cried, I've laughed, I've shared, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
And
yet the whole world can hear
exactly.
it. And I think that that's like a safety zone for writing a book.
Yeah.
For me initially was like, okay, I get to script what people are reading. And when I came to the conference last year, like I didn't have an intention of a podcast. I had no intention of creating retreats. All of that has emerged in the last year, which is, again, like to see what God can do in such a short time with your heart, with your call, with your desire, with your purpose. He is so big, like so much bigger than we can imagine. And I love the way you describe like what you did when you were little and how you're pulling it back off of the shelf. Because I remember, and I can relate in the achievement sector. Oh, I'm with Jesus now.
Right.
Like I just need to be with him and I need to pursue him.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
But
there's
so much purpose in all of the things that we've like yearned for.
Yeah.
Because we're yearning, and now I'm yearning with a different intent.
Absolutely.
Right. I still am very passionate about speaking. I'm still very passionate about being on a mic. I'm still very passionate about writing.
Yeah.
But it has such a different like heart level.
Absolutely.
And it's not about me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Make him famous.
Yeah. And it's so cool because like when I talk to my mom and stuff, you know, the way she just kind of chuckles, and I'm just like almost as if it's this like self-discovery that I have finally realized what she's already known my whole life. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just think about that with God. Yeah. You know, so many people are trying to find out who they are, but it's really, it's in them.
Yeah.
Who they are is in them. Yeah. And God knows who we are.
Yeah.
And so I just love that because she'll be like, I have papers of all the words you used to speak at 1.5 years old, you know, stuff like that. Cool. And so I'm just like, it's so cool. Some of those things have always been there. And I'm just so thankful that you know, of my relationship with Jesus and the purpose that he's going to show me. You know, that makes all of it, like you said, just not about what I'm bringing or what I'm doing, but this is I'm offering my gifts to whomever.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? It's very different than like Old Testament gift giving, right? And like you're not coming with a lamb,
right?
Or your child,
right?
And it's not necessarily that's not what God's asking of us. So what a freedom we have in being able to come with something that He's already given us,
right?
And He's like, just pull it out of your back pocket and let's do this together. And like He wants to be in union with us on the things that we love, and not in like a disgruntled way. Because I think sometimes people feel like, oh, like, I like to do art, but how am I going to use that for Jesus? And it's not that everything you do honors him.
Right.
If you have a mentality
of
everything I do honors him.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. And when you're changing diapers, that's honoring God.
Yeah. It's like funny. My analogy was going to be brushing your teeth.
Yes.
And it's so silly, but like it matters.
Yes.
There's a point to it.
Yeah.
It's you're taking care of your child. You're doing the next legacy of your life.
Absolutely.
I'm taking care of my body, which is a vessel.
Right.
So it's really mindset.
Yeah.
It really is about
everything. And I think, too, like so many people right now, I think, and I don't know, it's probably been since the beginning of time, but we just think it's 2019 that things happen like this. But I feel like there's this highlight on what is significant and what is not. And the search for that significant thing, we're overlooking all the days, all the moments. And I think that, like you said, it's a perspective when you know Jesus is on the inside of me. And so when I am, you know, making out with my husband, when I am loving on my babies, or when I am writing, that is still me, all me. And I'm doing that to honor God.
And you get to be all of the things.
Yes.
And I think that that's also like a pain point for people.
Right.
They're like, oh, wait, this is my job, so this is who I am.
Right.
No. Or this is my job, I have to do this, but this is who I am after work when I do my passion pursuits. Like, no, you're all of you all the time.
Yeah.
So honor yourself just as much as you're honoring God with that time,
so true.
With that energy, you know, with your finances, all of those things. And I know we've spoken about finances in the past, and like that is so important. And it's such a place of like, wait, like buying this is honoring God, or not buying this is honoring God.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because I would never, when I was a quote unquote, I say little C Christian versus a big C Christian, and what that means, and what it does mean would be that like I practiced Christianity, was not in a relationship with the Lord.
Yeah,
I believed in God. there's two different things.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus is my ham boy. Like, when
Right.
people wear that shirt,
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, girl,
Yes,
I
exactly.
got you.
Yes.
Like, that's a thing.
Right.
And it's not just a joke. Like,
Right.
people act like I can communicate with God. And
Right.
it sounds bananas.
Right.
And if you're tuning in and you're not Christian,
Right.
I promise I'm not, like, a
Right,
crazy person.
exactly.
Like, he shares and he speaks and he gives
Absolutely.
vision and he gives purpose and he
Yes.
gives life in such a way
Yes.
that we have access to. But I know, had I heard myself speak as a 17-year-old,
Yeah.
I would be like, oh, she's loony.
Right.
We need to
For
have a
sure.
We need to go another way.
Yes,
and
exactly.
steer clear.
Yes.
But at the same time, there would have been that intrigue, like, well, maybe she has something.
Right.
Maybe
So true.
there's some sort of thing that I could learn
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
And usually it doesn't happen until you're more self-aware and
So
more
true.
looking, like
Yeah.
searching. And I don't feel like when I was 17, though I should have been searching,
Sure.
I was searching for, like, the
Other
hot
things.
guy.
Right.
And the,
Yes.
the good outfit. And all of
Exactly.
the exterior.
Sure.
And now, because none of that matters, and
Right.
I realize that, it's all about interior.
Right.
And that's why when we've had those conversations with women that she speaks and you're going straight to the heart.
Yeah.
You're literally telling me your story.
Yeah, tell me your
Not,
story.
I love your highlights.
Right,
You did
exactly,
those,
yes.
right? Which is a great groundbreaking conversation.
Absolutely. It kind of
too.
just like brings people in super fast.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And people are missing it. They're missing it. Missing it meaning they're yearning for it,
Right.
not missing the boat. Though
Right.
that might be the thing too.
Sure.
But I mean, even people in checkout line, you tell them
Yeah.
something so sweet, and they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
nobody's ever told me that before."
Right.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Your
I
eyes are
know.
like crystal balls.
Right.
Like, they're
I
amazing."
know it.
And they just cry.
Yes,
People are just yearning.
they are.
And
They
that is another, like, perspective of God multiplies.
Yeah.
Like, you're not stealing
No.
my ideal
No.
reader,
No.
my ideal audience,
Right.
if you will, my
Right.
avatar. You're not stealing them.
Yeah.
You are multiplying not only their heart
Yes.
and their reach,
Right.
you're making it bigger for
Absolutely.
the kingdom of God.
Absolutely.
Ugh.
And I think there's so many different, messages that I think about that. Like, what a, dishonor would it be? Like, kind of going back to that of like bringing our gifts to honor God, and using our voice to honor God and to tell one more person
Yeah.
that his good news is good.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the thing for me is kind of getting out of that space of like, this is not about anything else than that,
Yeah.
and
it's
so it
so
kind of
true.
simplifies
Yeah.
all of it.
And it's interesting because I know you've done multiple different speaking engagements,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
My really good friend who's also a pastor, she and her husband who have come alongside somebody named Ranjit, who's from India, whose dad has a big mega church here, or mega church there, and he's coming here for family reasons. But they're going to have this opportunity to go to India in a place that people don't even have access to the internet.
Mm.
They have never seen the Bible. They've never heard the word Jesus spoken. And this isn't just like one person. This is like billions of people, or millions, because billion is the world population, but millions of people in remote areas that have never even whispered his name.
Wow.
And so to imagine that it's not just the United States, and people do think in just such small communities.
Mhm.
I am all for the local community.
Right.
That's my heart. Support local. Like, I do it all day long. But like, the world is so much bigger than that. And if we could just understand that it's not about writing a book that goes to India, it's about taking your message to India.
Absolutely.
In a way, maybe eventually they will have podcasts, and they'll be like,
Right.
"What is this?" And it's
Right.
the first time that your eensy weensy little podcast hears the ears
Absolutely.
of someone across the
true.
nations. It's about providing free access,
Absolutely.
about providing free opportunities to know who He is.
Yes. So true. I feel like it's both sides of like not thinking you're so significant, yet not thinking you're so insignificant. It's like the same thing, like, man, I'm so significant that these people are taking stuff from me. Like, this is my lane, this is my thing. No.
Yeah.
At the same time, well, what is my thing going to do?
Wow.
Well, imagine if we all just say, hey, this is my thing, together, the impact that makes, and so I've just learned to not think so highly of others, not so in order to think highly of me. You know what I mean? It's the same thing, like opposite, or lowly, or put them down so that I can feel better, or to lift them up so that I feel lower. It's like, no,
so good.
Here here's my gift, God. I want to just be faithful with what you give me, and if this is my voice. And I think that my kids, are just great reminders that anytime I do feel insignificant, I'm like, whoa, I get to be their mom. Like, and I think they have some purpose and like incredible things that they're going to do. They're already doing in their little lives that I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's just a reminder for me that
that's good.
What I do matters.
Yeah. It so does. So tell me, you've got the church. I know you do Orange Theory.
I do.
You coach.
I coach there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
So I just finished, or not finished. I just came across my 1 year.
Oh, so it was almost simultaneous.
It was. Yeah.
How interesting.
It was. So I started. In June, like right at the end of June, and then came here. So a year. Yeah.
That's
coaching
awesome.
Orange Theory, which I love. I really love doing that. I feel like it's the same thing of like encouraging people beyond their limitations or what they feel is their limitations, bringing them out of their comfort zone, and encouraging them to they've got it.
Yeah, it's interesting because everything for Fit and Faith was birthed out of a conversation with my personal trainer and nutrition coach, and she has since left the facility and is venturing off with her family to do other things, but we now have a male trainer that came in, and it's the first time in my life I've had a male trainer other than like male coaches when I was a gymnast.
Right.
And we hadn't had any testosterone in there other than if our husbands come on like a 9 a.m. fun class, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. Like this is my comfort zone. My spot. This is like my girl time. This is like my me time. I mean, my spirituality experience in that place has been, I mean, I'll cry during a workout.
Right.
I mean, it's super deep. Because I'm in my own zone.
Yeah.
I'm not with my kids. I'm not with it's just for me. And he has come in and like when he shares, and I can't wait to have him on the podcast too, when he shares like even opening or closing while we're stretching, he's like really deep. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Right.
I'm like, you got some pastoral blood within you.
Yes.
And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, when you share, like what you're saying has so much depth. And to know, like, these people are in such a vulnerable state.
Yes.
They're coming in either hungry because they are hungry for the fact that they haven't eaten, or they're on a diet, or something interesting from that perspective, or they're coming in because they're in pursuit of, like, this whole vessel from a spiritual experience. Yes. There's so many mindsets coming in.
Absolutely.
So much brokenness.
Yes.
And also so much wholeness.
Yeah.
So you have this, like, incredible opportunity in a window you cannot get in church.
Right. It's so true.
Cannot get that
It's so
in church.
true what people, they welcome you, and just in a way they trust you, and so I don't take that lightly, in that opportunity. But I really, my journey, I've always been an athlete, different things, growing up, all of that. And then you have children, you have all of the things. But I really believe like a lot of the momentum that I found in my life and kind of that got me here all started when I really took that approach of not just like now that I'm a mom, I just got to lose weight.
Yep.
But how can I be strong? The mental toughness that has come from what I do in there has been a game changer for me to withstand and to continue to fight the good fight and not give up. Because I know like if I continue to push myself physically in that way, my spiritual body is doing the same thing.
It's so true. So, and to like learn that like withstanding. I was in the ocean last week and it was crazy. It wasn't storming. It was storming at my home in Virginia Beach, but we were in the Outer Banks and it was just like just wild waves. And I was just worshiping next to the water and I had just done my burpee challenge that I'm doing right now. And I just literally felt called into the ocean. It was red flag day, and nobody else is in the ocean. There's people walking, but it was like kind of sandblasting at dusk. And I was the crazy person out there working out. But I had to get into the water. And I have been baptized on the Atlantic Ocean. I've been baptized in the Pacific Ocean. And I was a lifeguard. So like the ocean and my like everything, my being are like connected. And it was big. And I was like, I know I'm strong enough to withstand this. I've done it since I was young. But like, teach me something, God. And so I'm in the waves and he's tossing and turning and I'm getting soaked. I'm crying in the midst of salt water, which is an interesting experience in and of itself. And I just felt God say like, I've got you. And to know that like even in the tossle and turning of that's life. Like I feel that way in different areas of my life. Yet I am so grounded in his safety.
So true.
And so that is such an element of that when I share mind, body, and soul balance and alignment and connectivity, and like it's not one or the other, it's one and the other.
True.
Wow. And I know that is the same. I can see, like, we've never worked out together, but I can imagine it would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And so, and it's not just, we know we get each other in that sense that this is not just for my body.
Right.
Because I've done things just for my body, and I have suffered because of it, whether it is a diet, whether it is a self-image pursuit, whether it's I'm trying to get into a certain size or a certain weight or a certain calorie count. I mean, it's exhausting.
Yes, it is.
And I hope that, like, people hearing on the other end of the mic, like, understand that isn't going to make you feel well.
No.
It's not going to make you feel healthy.
Right.
Like, none of that is the pursuit you're actually looking for. There's so much more than that.
Yeah. It's the whole picture that I feel like it all goes together. And I think it's a great marriage that you have of fit and faith, but the fitness aspect and faith. I really do believe it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, it is. And one of the things, and I'll kind of bring it full circle in the image that I'd had on the book cover was like a picture of my back. I had my hands up in my hair, and it was my frame.
Right.
And my back looked good in that picture.
Right, girl.
It deterred the person looking at it because they weren't in the same placement of body health.
Right.
And so it immediately turned them away, being like, I'll never look like that.
Right.
My body will never look like that. So why am I going to pick up this book?
Yeah.
I don't even want to pursue looking like that. And so it really like checked me because I'm like, oh, interesting. And I get that. Like, not everyone's frame is going to be slender and 5'7". Like, I understand that. But there is still the element of you can be more than you think you can be.
Absolutely.
I follow this girl, Ashley, who I'll have to tag her. She'll be so excited. She has always been a size 14 since high school.
Yeah.
She is currently a size 4.
Wow.
And it happened in less than a year. And it is possible, but she's also on a spiritual journey.
Right.
She's also on a mental journey of I want to be fully well mentally, and she just had a baby.
Wow.
So like, whoa,
right.
How can you do that? People do it all the time. Yeah. It's just the grit.
Absolutely.
It's that mental strength that you come alongside. Yeah. I can lift this barbell or I can run this race.
Exactly. It's so true. And I feel like for me, it was that, like, I'm not doing something in 90 days. I'm not doing something like this is for the long haul. And I'm willing to, and I always kind of like joke with some of my friends who are like, you need to do this cleanse with me. I'm like, no. I need you to no. Like, I'm not, like, I'm still moving forward because I'm doing things that I can do with my family that does honor God, and I did invite God into that space. I did, because I want to show up for myself. I want to show up for my family, and I have energy. I have excitement. I have more of a like, let's go after that. Like, who says we can't do that? Let's go.
Right.
A little bit more boot camp, a little bit, and you kind of take that with you. And I do, and I feel like one of the things that Orange Theory says is more life. That's their motto, is more life.
Cool.
And so they used to do like keep burning and things like that, and they moved into more life, and I just love that because it has. I'm pulling weeds in my backyard, and I'm lifting stuff and just taking it away. I'm not tired, and I'm sweating, and I'm enjoying it. It's added value to so many things, and I really do believe it's helped me show up. Show up for Jesus, and it's also really challenged me. I'll set my alarm to go work out at 5 a.m. So I am now challenged to set my alarm to spend time with Jesus. Because I've made such a priority of my exercise.
Sure.
Because I know what it's done more life.
Right.
That I have just in the last season. It's kind of where I am right now. It's just like there are things, no matter what the day is going to be like. Instead of, my question used to be, when am I going to work out? That was my question, because then I kind of went to the other side of like really, because I was focused in on that, which is a good thing.
Yeah,
but,
there are
everything, there's seasons, but you always, there's always balance and whatever that word. But in that, it's like, okay, that should not be my number one thing.
Sure.
Is, when am I having time with God?
Yeah, that's so cool.
So that's where I kind of been sitting in.
Going.
And then I'm like, all right, I have my coffee, I have my Jesus, now I'm going to work
out.
Exactly.
And it doesn't have to be in that order.
Exactly.
But it can
Right, it can be.
And I think it's funny because we were actually talking on the way here, the gal that I'm here with, and she was saying, we were talking about like addiction specifically and how our society like is addicted to so many things.
Yes.
And I think physical fitness can be one of them.
Right.
And if you're going after it for the wrong reasons, in the pursuit of something different that's not healthy,
Sure.
there is that addiction component of. But there's also, I can pursue my health and it's in good standing, and it can become vain,
Sure.
And an addicting thing.
Right.
How do you become addicted to Jesus? Was the question on the line. Like, okay. And let that be a good thing.
Right.
That's not, I'm a crazy person.
Right.
Why is she on the street stand with a sign? Like, convicting people of situation. But, like, how do I fit that in? How can I break generational curses of understanding what addiction is and how it negatively affects and make it a positive?
Yeah.
Because people have addictive minds.
It's true. I think that's the difference of what you were talking about earlier, little c, big C, religion, relationship. Mm-hmm. Religion says I have to. Religion says I get to do this. I get to go and spend time with the King of Kings. Yes. You know, and in that I am better. You know, and I have just been super. And a lot of people think addiction or people are addicted or they're crazy. But it's just because they have good habits and they have disciplines.
Totally.
And so disciplines always kind of shake people wrong because you're like, I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not giving up my hour.
Yeah.
I can hang out with you at a different hour, but that's my hour to do that. Yes. And I think those are cool, good things.
Absolutely. That's a good
But then moving it to the other side is when you start moving into condemnation, you start putting yourself down if you didn't show up, if you didn't do. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so for me, that has been the biggest thing because part of this even more life and some of the things that are going on, what goes on in a like molecular, the inside of you. When you work out, when you do certain things, dopamine is shot into your brain. It does boost your mood, so it does say, I want to do that again. Yeah. So you are addicted to that in the right way.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that's that always kind of keeping yourself centered in this of like, I'm doing this because I'm always just reevaluating your intentions. Yes. Like my intention is not to be a better Christian for hanging out with Jesus. Right. My intention is to spend time with God. Yeah. You know, my intention when I go work out is not to be hottest mom. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever it is. Maybe it is. No, just stop it. But then it's like, okay, my intention is that I'm going to get stronger. I'm taking care of my vessel. I'm taking care of the temple that of the Holy Spirit. You know, that kind of thing. Just kind of reevaluating. I think
it's funny because I know your little ones. How old are they?
My girls are 8 and my little boy's 5.
Okay, so Coop's 6, Wave's 4. And they know mommy and daddy are strong. Yeah. Like, yes, they compare. Yes. And I try not to play that game. Sometimes it's fun. Yes, exactly. But they know, and like they'll see me do exercises and they want to do it right alongside me. And they're like, look at my muscles. Yes. Look at my abs. And I'm like, that's rad. And then to instill the next step, right? So not to have that conceit component is the confidence of you are strong. You are strong. But guess what else is strong? Like you have a strong mind. Right. You have a strong heart. Absolutely. And the reason we do this is for our heart in multiple levels. Yes. And teaching them about, you know, good food intake and bad food intake and what that looks like. It's the same for mental. Like what are you watching? What are you pouring in? What are you fueling yourself with? Yep. So true. It's so multifaceted, and I think God intended for it to be that way. He could have easily let it be. We're mechanical. Yeah. He created us. You're all going to be slender and fit and have abs. Right. And I think at one point when we were all hunting and gathering, we were. Right. Exactly. But we stopped that. There was a point of like, now we're going to rest and we're going to sit and do rote things. Like we're going to figure this out. You are a machine because you put things together or you're typing. And yet, that's not what God intended. Right. Like, not that we don't need to type and blog and do all those things in front of our computer, but there's more to it. Absolutely. Right? It's an interesting thing to be aware of. Absolutely. And if we just continue to be aware, then each of those puzzle pieces, you become more intentional with. Right. Yeah, and I think, too, just a great example that, you know, you're showing your kids of, you know, taking care of yourself. And so I'm always reminded of, okay, like, what are the things that they're going to say about me? I mean, they would know the minute I'm grabbing my shoes, she's going to go work out. Yeah. They know. Like, they know. Like, okay,
that. And so, and I used to do a lot of my reading, like either on my like iPad or my phone.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand the difference between me just hanging out on my phone or reading the Bible. And so I know it sounds so silly, but I've exchanged that and I've opened my Bible again because when they come in and they see me do that, it is making deposits in them. And I know that might just sound like crazy, but it's just been something, honestly, that it came from, just time with the Lord, that I just felt like I needed to open up that, so that when they come in, because they don't know I'm sending an email, they don't know I'm reading the Bible, but it's there, but it just looks like my phone and my face, and so they see me turning those pages, and so they're seeing me, highlight stuff or write in it, and so
that's really
wanting to do that, and so I'm seeing them grab for their Bible or write in their journal or write the songs to God, those kind of things. And so I just know that,
that's so good. It's funny, my daughter, we don't let them have a ton of screen time, but there's obviously the times where I'm like, you gotta have the screen time so mommy can send the email.
Yes, exactly.
And so she's been doing this new thing. She's only 4, but she's obviously picked up on it because we are on our phones and our devices. And so her brother came to me and was like, how come Waverly's on the iPhone? And I was like, oh, maybe she shouldn't be on the iPhone. I think she was looking at a picture, and she was like, oh, Cooper, I'm just working. I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And she's like, I was working. I was doing my homework. She then uses her teacher's name, Implant Morgan. Morgan told me to do my homework. I was not playing on the phone. And I was like, well, what kind of homework were you doing? And she was like, oh, I was just looking at pictures, which is YouTube. So that means I have implanted that, because they're not getting that other than maybe external people doing stuff that I'm working. Oh, mommy's allowed on her phone because she's working. Am I always working when I'm on Instagram? No.
Exactly.
So
I'm like, I just have to finish this.
Yes, I have an Instagram post I'm trying to make. And I only get frustrated when they're intervening on things like that. But that shows them that my phone is more important than they are.
I'm totally there right now.
It's a hard conviction.
It is.
It's good, though. I really, that really convicts me from the Bible perspective.
Yeah.
Because there are times that I actually am pursuing something that I know is healthy for them and healthy for me and healthy for my relationship with the Lord. And they don't know that.
Yeah.
They can't decipher it. It's the same thing with money. Like, they're always like, you have your card, just use your card. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
This is not card.
Exactly.
This has money. This has
in
coins.
Exactly.
Bring me your coins and I can get the Pokemon card.
Totally.
And so, that's a whole other conversation to, make them understand. But it's our job to steward that and to steward it well. And I can't say that I'm always doing the right thing by that.
Right. And I would say you're not alone. Because I feel the same, with that. And, I just feel like I'm right there in that and just putting up some just healthy boundaries and fighting for that. Addictions is a real thing.
It is. It is. And I learned that the phone actually gives off similar dopamine in sites that cocaine does. And so, my little guy will stumble into the room and he's like, can I have on the iPad? I'm like,
I was just going to say,
you haven't said a word to me. You haven't even given me a good morning kiss.
Yes.
You have not brushed your teeth. You haven't even
I feel like I had the same conversation this morning with Jet.
No, you can't have the iPad.
And then I get mad at them. And no, you can't have them for 3. And then I'm like, because what have I done before?
You grab your phone.
And before I even get out of bed, and then I'm like, okay, Sarah, no. And so what I've done a lot lately is I'll just go, boom, I just delete the apps from my phone, and I'll go a day or 2 without them coming back on my phone. I'll put them back on for different things.
That's good.
And I just always feel like this doesn't control me.
Yeah.
I always do that. I'm like, it's so random, but I say that. This doesn't control me. Or I'll just be like, those chips don't control me. No, just kidding. Whatever.
So
but seriously, and I'll just do it randomly. Awesome. I don't think about it too much. I'll just delete it.
Yeah.
And I realize times I'll just go back to my phone, or I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to go in a web browser. I'm like, no, and so it's real. But and I think our kids are so they're grace for us. Because they remind us, because I'm like, no, you didn't, same conversation. You didn't say anything to me, this and that. You are not going to wake up and the first thing you think about is your iPad. I'm like, back to me.
That's so bad. Okay. So now we both have takeaways from
this
conversation.
So much. Exactly.
So good. And I hope that everyone listening had the same joy and time.
Yes.
Since we aren't together all the time, we've got to go spend more time together and grab lunch or dinner with some other friends that are in town. But It's been a pleasure.
Man,
I'm so glad I brought my mic.
Oh my gosh, me too.
So
now I'm like, I could do this.
I
think so.
You do it already. You just don't have a cute mic.
Right,
so
I know.
get the
I'm
cute
go get
mic.
One. That's right. I'm going to do it.
I love you. I'm grateful
you.
for you. And I am
Same.
absolutely rooting you on. I cannot wait to share what it is that you have coming out into the world. But I know that it's so much more than just a book. Because it might be 7 books down the way that people actually recognize this book, right?
Man. Yep, so true.
All right, I'm so proud of you. Thanks for being here.
Yes, bye guys.
See ya.
I'm Tamara Andress. I'm your Fit and Faith host, and I am so excited to just be here to share with you other movers, dreamers, shakers, entrepreneurs, pastors, whatever. If you've got a head and you've got a heart, I'm so excited to explore who that is, whose you are, and discover your wholeness, your health, your wealth, and your joy. I love to exude happiness. I want people to know that this is not, this came with trial. You guys, this came with a lot of effort. This came with a lot of lows and so many highs. And I want us to experience those together. This is a real community of dreamers, and I'm excited to help catapult your calling, your kingdom experience, the purpose of your imprint on the world, wherever, however that is. So come along for the ride. I'm excited to chat with you. Like, comment, review, send me a DM, send me an email. It's me responding, even though I have an incredible team. And so I'm just excited to get to know you. Let's connect, let's create community, and let's walk in our calling.